The frustration was written all over Stephanie White's face as she stormed toward the officials. Her voice rose, her arms flailed, and then the whistle came. A technical foul. The kind of punishment that doesn't just sting a coach, it becomes the symbol of something bigger. White wasn't just arguing one call. She was speaking for every Indiana Fever player, every fan, and every person watching who felt the same way. This wasn't basketball. This was robbery disguised as officiating. The Fever weren't just trying to survive a playoff game. They were trying to survive a season where injuries had gutted them. And now, in the most important moment of the year, they were fighting referees just as much as their opponent. Game 1 against the Atlanta Dream wasn't supposed to look like this. It was already a nightmare when the roster sheet came out. 6 players gone. 6 contributors erased before the ball even tipped. Caitlin Clark, the star rookie and face of the franchise, out with a groin injury. Chloe Bibby, done with a knee issue. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Coulson, both shelved with knee problems of their own. Ari McDonald sidelined with a bad foot. And as if fate hadn't already taken enough, the day before the game, Dearest Dantas was ruled out with a concussion. A playoff team already patching holes all season suddenly had more names in street clothes than in jerseys. When the Fever walked into that arena in Atlanta, they looked less like a basketball team and more like a support group. All 16 players traveled, healthy or not. It was a show of unity, a statement that even if their bodies were broken, they would be there for each other. But the sight was almost comical. The bench wasn't long enough. Healthy players sat in one row, while the injured crew, including Clark and Cunningham, lined up behind them like passengers waiting at a gate. A playoff bench turned into a hospital wing, and yet, this was the team expected to go toe-to-toe with a dream roster at full strength. Still, the Fever didn't show up to fold. Kelsey Mitchell came out firing, draining jumpers with her trademark fearlessness. Aaliyah Boston set the tone inside, bodying up defenders and vacuuming rebounds like her season depended on it. Because it did. The Fever roared to a 15-6 lead, stunning the Atlanta crowd. For a moment, it didn't matter how many players were missing. The message was simple. We're still here. But then came the whistles. And with each shrill blast, momentum leaked away like air from a balloon. Ryan Howard stumbled, and suddenly it was a foul. Lexi Hull played textbook defense, arms straight, feet planted, only to hear the whistle against her. Stephanie White burned a challenge early, desperate to protect her players. The replay confirmed what everyone already saw. No foul. She won the challenge, but at a cost. By the second quarter, she had used both challenges, both successfully, both proving the officials were missing calls that never should have been made in the first place. And without challenges left, the Fever had no protection when the same mistakes kept happening. Meanwhile, Atlanta played with a freedom Indiana never tasted. Elbows flew in the paint, arms tugged on jerseys, bodies collided, and the whistles stayed silent. Boston absorbed hits to the face. Turner got shoved on rebounds. Mitchell was bumped on drives, play on. But the moment Indiana returned the same energy, the whistle blew. It was a lopsided rhythm that sapped their focus, their confidence, and their composure. White couldn't take it anymore. In the fourth quarter, after yet another sequence where her players were manhandled with no call, she exploded. The referees slapped her with a technical, as if to silence the frustration building all night. On the sideline, Caitlin Clark, still in street clothes, stepped in to calm her coach down. The rookie star turned into a peacemaker, holding back the woman tasked with guiding this broken roster. It was a surreal image, a symbol of just how unhinged the officiating had made the entire night feel. The Dream took advantage. Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard powered Atlanta with matching 20-point nights. Naz Hillman added 16 off the bench. Brittany Griner's size warped Indiana's defensive schemes, forcing double teams and leaving shooters open. The depth difference was glaring. Atlanta rotated fresh bodies every few minutes while Indiana clung desperately to whoever could stand upright. Slowly, inevitably, the scoreboard tilted toward the Dream. Yet despite the chaos, despite the foul disparity, despite everything, Indiana never quit. Kelsey Mitchell turned in one of the best playoff performances of her career, 27 points, 4 assists, and even a block. She hit tough shots, attacked relentlessly, and carried the offense whenever it sputtered. Without her, the game would have been over by halftime. Boston added 12 rebounds, battling through foul trouble, pushing back against Griner and Jones, refusing to be bullied. Her scoring was quieter, just 8 points, but her effort on the glass kept Indiana afloat. Hull chipped in 9 points, including one of the team's few made threes, and threw herself into every scrap for a loose ball. The stat sheet told a story of struggle. Indiana shot under 35% from the floor and just 2 for 15 from deep. Atlanta, by contrast, lived at the line and punished every Indiana miss by controlling the boards. But the heart of the story wasn't numbers. It was resilience. It was a team with half its roster unavailable, still standing toe-to-toe with a contender, still fighting until the buzzer, still refusing to roll over no matter how many times the whistle went against them. That fight carries into Game 2, and it comes with history. For the first time since 2016, the Indiana Fever will host a home playoff game. Gainbridge Fieldhouse hasn't felt that energy in nearly a decade, and now the team returns battered, bloodied, but not broken. The same 6 players remain out. Clark won't suit up. Cunningham, Coulson, McDonald, Bibby, and Dantis remain unavailable. The depth problem hasn't changed, but the location has, and in the playoffs, that matters. 17,000 fans will pack into the Fieldhouse, desperate to remind the league what playoff basketball in Indiana sounds like. That noise won't heal knees or undo groin injuries, but it can rattle opponents. It can make every Mitchell jumper feel like a haymaker, every Boston rebound a statement, every stop a wave of momentum. Atlanta will try to do exactly what worked in Game 1. Pack the paint, force Indiana into jump shots, lean on their bench depth. But if the Fever move the ball faster, execute sharper, and ride the surge of their home crowd, the storm could flip. For Mitchell, the burden remains heavy. She can't score 27 again and watch her teammates falter. Someone else must rise. Whether it's Turner finishing plays inside, Hall knocking down more shots, or Hartley finding rhythm, the Fever need another scorer to keep the dream honest. Boston will bring her rebounding. Hull will bring her grit. But one more reliable weapon has to emerge. Because no matter how loud the Fieldhouse gets, noise can only carry you so far without execution. Stephanie White knows this. She made it clear after Game 1, ball movement is non-negotiable. Against Atlanta's length, slow decisions are death. Quick passes, sharp cuts, decisive actions, that's the only way to survive. For a team stripped down to its core, survival is the only goal. And yet, survival in itself is a victory. This franchise spent years wandering in the wilderness out of the playoff picture entirely. Now in back-to-back seasons, they've clawed their way back. Injuries robbed them of depth. Whistles robbed them of momentum. But nothing has robbed them of their identity, a team that fights. So as Game 2 tips off in Indianapolis, the question isn't just whether the Fever can win. It's whether they can seize the moment, turn pain into energy, and force the league to take notice. Gainbridge Fieldhouse hasn't roared for playoff basketball in 8 years. Now it gets its chance. And the Fever have their chance to remind everyone that Indiana basketball, no matter how bruised, is never broken. Do you think the Fever were robbed by the referees in Game 1? Or was it just playoff basketball at its ugliest? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter of this dramatic playoff run.